Now it's time for today's perspective, and it is 60 years today since the start of a true mystery here in France, the disappearance off the streets of Paris of Mehdi Ben Barka. Now, Ben Barka, who was a leader against the French occupation of his home country of Morocco in the 50s, then an opponent of the King of Morocco, he had been due to be received at the Élysée Palace the day after his disappearance. What happened to him, though, really haunting both French and North African political life ever since. Well, now, a new book aims to shed new light on what happened. And with me here are its authors. Ronen Bergman is an Israeli investigative journalist and author who writes, amongst others, for the New York Times. Stephen Smith is a French biographer, editor and journalist who's former editor of the daily Libération here in France. Thanks to both of you for coming in and talking to us. First of all, for those who don't know, just tell us what the story of Ben Barka actually is.
Actually, the affair is pretty simple. There is the opposition figure that you mentioned, Mehdi Ben Barka. He is in Paris for a film about the Third World, and he's snatched from the streets of Paris and disappears. And then it is a dark hole. We don't know what happened afterwards, and there are 1,000 theories. Is there French involvement, Moroccan involvement? Is there other involvement? Maybe the CIA, maybe the Israelis. Long story short, we know that the order was given by Hassan II. We didn't know prior to our book when he actually ordered him to be abducted. And so now we know that that was a year earlier, and it was not so much linked to the fact that Mehdi Ben Barka was an opposition figure, obviously that played a role, but also to the fact that he was a spy, a remunerated agent of the spy agency in Prague, so the Czech service. And so Hassan II decided that he had to remove him, snatch him, and eventually he decided he would kill him, and he called on the Mossad to help him, to give him operational support.
There have been a lot of different theories, as you said. The theory, I don't know if it's a theory, you tell me, that it was the king who definitely ordered that. Is that your new conclusion?
No, the newness of the book is that it is the first evidence-based record of what happened after the abduction. So the dark hole is no longer dark because we have all the communication. We have the archives in Prague, of course. Other researchers worked on that before, but we now have the cables that were sent in between stations from the Mossad, saying in real time what was happening. We have it in writing, and it's not destined to manipulate any public, any audience. It is just exchanges within the service. So it's for the first time a real-time, evidence-based account of what happened to Mehdi Ben Barka. And there literally all the main questions. There are 5 or 6 questions: when, who did it, how long did they keep him captive, etc. All those questions are addressed now, and on evidence you can answer them.
Ronen, how did you go about doing this research then?
When I'm asked about, our research, Stephen is based on, I think, thousands of documents that, as Stephen said, were created in real time and were kept very far away from the public's eye until now. And just last night, someone asked me, how did you, both of you got the documents? So I said, someone put them on the footstep of my door, and Yana, my wife, took them in, which is, of course, a joke because I cannot really answer your question. But I'll tell something about the trail of some of these records, because it's not just that caused major havoc in France, leading to the fact that there's still an investigative judge. Even today, 60 years after this is an active investigation pending, going on actually now. And not just in the relations between France and Morocco, but also secretly in Israel. That almost led to the secret downfall of the government, a coup d'etat. They wanted to topple the prime minister. The head of the Mossad wanted the prime minister to resign without him. The prime minister of Israel at that time, Levi Eshkol, thought that the Mossad chief is going to assassinate him, nothing less to that. But it led, all of this, to the creation of a secret trove of thousands of documents that were passed on between leaders of the Labour Party, because the stain was so big, the catastrophe, the shame, the embarrassment, the scandal was so big, so they just kept one set of these documents passing from one another, and basing on all of it, as Stephen said, now we can come and say what actually happened. minute after minute, second after second.
Because on the face of it, obviously, this is a story about France and Morocco. So where does Israel come into it? Why is Israel so particularly interested?
So Israel had no interest in Mehdi Ben Barka. He just was not relevant. In fact, it was Mehdi Ben Barka a few years before that came to Mossad, that came to Israel and asked for help. He needed funding. He wanted Israel. You know, Israel was connected, extensively connected to some countries in Africa. So, but he was not interested. What was interesting for Israel is the secret intelligence liaison between Mossad and the Moroccan services, leading to a peak. It took role for a very long time, but the peak was in September 1965, when King Hassan allows Israeli operatives coming into the rooms of the secret Arab League summit in Casablanca beforehand and installing bugging devices and recording all the secret meetings between Arab leaders, and quoting two leaders of the intelligence of Israel at that time. What was recorded then was one of the founding bases of the Israeli confidence leading to its victory in 1967. And after that, after the Moroccans gave Israel probably the most valuable present, they basically said, well, guys, no free gifts. We have a stone in our shoe, and we want to kill Ben Barka or kidnap and then kill. We want to kill him, and you can help us. You can help us take this stone. We don't know where he is, so the Israelis helped them tracing him, luring him to Paris, not killing him, but taking extensive role in the overall envelope of the assassination and the disposing of the body.
I mean, it's an incredible story, isn't it? I mean, how much difference do you think the research that the two of you have done is actually going to make? Is anyone actually going to pay any attention and actually take any action because of what you found?
Yes, I think so. And already the French justice contacted us. So I think there is a huge interest also in the broader audience. What you see here is now we know who commissioned the crime, who ordered the crime, Morocco, King Hassan II. We know who knew about the crime and who was an accomplice before and after the act, because the gangsters who were involved in the abduction flee to Morocco. They lived there for several years, and France knew about that. And France knew before the act, the abduction, that it would happen, and they agreed to it. Whether they knew whether Ben Barka would be killed, we can't prove. And third, Israel got involved, the tit for tat that we just explained, and there was this operational help, even though it is important to stress that Mossad never touched the body of Medhi Ben Barka. It was really operational help, but it is very morbid and despicable details about buying the shovels, the quick climb to bury the body and make it disappear. And one of the mysteries is that the body disappeared. It looks like a perfect crime. In actuality, it was the end of a series of failures, because there had been 4 previous attempts to kill him, 2 in Geneva, 2 in Cairo, and the 5th one is, surprisingly succeeds and becomes this perfect crime, undisclosed or ununderstood for 60 years, and now you can really follow it, minute to minute, from minute to minute, day by day.
And why is it a story that the two of you actually wanted to pick up on and follow? I mean, what was it about it that was so fascinating, I suppose?
Stephen, was there much before me?
I did a chapter on the Ben Barka affair in a biography of General Oufkir, who was supposed, and he was convicted of the crime in France, lifelong imprisonment, etc. And so I knew the affair from the Moroccan and the French side, and then we teamed up 5 years ago because Ronen found the treasure trove on his doorstep. I can't say anymore. And I thought that would be a perfect team. And so we've been working for 5 years, and it's been really an adventure.
And you're not going to tell us then how you found that treasure trove?
No, but I can tell that to read the trove, there are many. It's very hard, not just because the language. So much of it is in Hebrew and in English, but that's the easiest part. And to read into documents that can crumble in your hands, it's also hard, but that's the easy. But there are many code words that someone used in order to prevent the fact, or to get ready to the fact that someone maybe someday will put this on the footstep of someone who is not supposed to read them. And then there was just, I think one of the biographers of the Third Reich once said that in every drama, there's also one moment of humor, and so we read into these documents, and there's a a wire, there's a cable from Paris station of Mossad to Mossad chief, and the head of the station is saying something about, I'm sorry, I did not write to you for a very long time. This is because we were attacked by hemorrhoids. Now we thought it's a code word. But the truth was, he said, because of the tension, because of how close we got into the brink of a disaster, I got this, he says, there's a plague worse than the 10 plagues of Egypt, and I couldn't stand it. And the chief of Mossad answers, says, you got all of our sympathy, and before you treat your hemorrhoid problems, do not do anything.
Well, it's an incredible story to go along with the incredible book as well.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming in and talking to us. As you can see there, L'Affaire Ben Barka, it's called in French. It's going to be translated into English briefly?
Very much hope so, yes.
OK, hopefully it will be out in English soon as well. But L'Affaire Ben Barka, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us. Roman Bergman and Stephen Smith, thank you very much, both of you.